Here's the new Erica Black range from Erica Synths, and I'm going to be going through the features and the sound of the new Varishape VCO. I'll start by going through the features of the module. We've got a nice frequency pot that's wide range, and it's enough to be fun to play around with, but also scaled really well for fine tuning. There's also an octave switch. There's calibration and tuning for all these things, and there's also a pot so that you can tune the bass frequency at which this module operates at, with these switches and frequency pot will work around, but because there's such a wide range between the octave switch and the frequency knob, I've not felt any need to use these. The main reason I love this VCO and what makes it fun to play with is the selection of attenuators for the waveforms, which is opposed to a single waveform output or separate waveform outputs that you might be used to. There's a triangle, a ramp and a pulse width which has got modulation, and there's also a square wave sub. Turning down the sub oscillator and centering all those knobs, you can hear that it doesn't completely cut off the sound, but to be honest I don't really see why you'd want to. So here's the triangle by itself. You can just about get rid of the fizz and the harmonics from the other waves. And as you never fully lose the sound of each wave, that extra little bit of fizz on the triangle makes for a really great fat sub bass. You can invert the waveforms as well. Here's a saw wave, or a ramp when inverted. Here's the pulse. And you can mix and match these to create new waveforms. Creating some new shapes. There's then the sub which mixes in and creates a fat and thick sound. Turning down the other waves, the square is pulse width modulatable both by the knob position and by the PWM input, so I'll modulate that from the Erica Synths Polyvox modulator. You can offset the PWM with the knob and then add the CV into that as well. Here's some sub again. Turning down the depth of the modulation, I'm going to mix the waves and create a new shape, and then I'll add some PWM back in and we'll get a waveform that's moving around and more unique with that mix of the other waves in there as well. Here's playing around with the waveform levels. That's really what the VCO is about for me, and it's a great size for playing around with and jamming with those waveforms right at the sound source at the start of a patch. Sticking with this wave shape, here's the exponential FM, and here's the depth around halfway and an audio rate wave going in. Let's adjust these waveforms to create a more triangle-like wave. Here's playing with the FM oscillator's rate and the depth of that modulation. Here's adding in some of that square wave and playing around with the PWM leads to some unique sounds. Going into the XMOD, this is a circuit out of the original Polyvox synth which enabled you to modulate the two Polyvox oscillators with one against the other. Here's moving between the FM and the XMOD. And you can actually take the rate of the XMOD and the oscillator to the point that the oscillator will actually just cut off. It's a really cool feature and something that works really well when you're modulating your waves going in as well. The key here though is this great static radio tuning noise and almost all dial-up internet type sound. It's great for these metallic and noisy sort of break-up sounds. Adding in some PWM again, we can get this whole thing moving. So a bit of a surprise, but it makes for a really great noise source and a unique oscillator that's got some sounds similar to the Hex Inverter's Jupiter Storm module, which is great for percussion, so we'll come back to this later in the video. So that's all the features with the Polyvox XMOD, inverting waveform mixing, the sub oscillator, the octave switching and the PWM. At the minute I'm using the VCOs and LFO to modulate the wavetable position in my patch. Taking the tuning right down, we can get the faster LFO and the lower audio rates. With an offset into the 1 volt per octave, we can get a nice slow LFO rate out of the module. You can hear the peak of this pulse wave on the wavetable and some slightly bendy shape modulating the waves. And the octave switch here is really useful, as an octave higher in terms of audio terms is double the frequency of the audio rate that you're currently at. And this is also going to be double the rate of the LFO speed, so we'll get nicely stepped doubling of that LFO rate as we switch up through those octaves. Turning down the square wave, let's create a new shape. So you can hear this nice custom waveform created by mixing these waves, which is working really well as an LFO for this patch. Here I look at creating some percussion sounds. I've currently got an envelope going into the FM for some typical percussive synth hits. With this short percussive blip, I'm going to add an envelope into the Erica Synths Polyvox VCO, which is taking the oscillator's output. And with this envelope, I'm going to just create a simple square wave clock style envelope just to open and close that sound. We're going to change the envelope affecting the VCO, which is separate from the pitch envelope going into the FM. I'll create a few more tones showing how well the module responds to fast falling envelopes, those quick decays. And if you've been watching from the start, you remember using the XMOD. I took the oscillator up to the point of actually cutting out, and just below that we got all these lovely metallic noisy waveforms, almost like interference and modulated pulse waves. So I'm going to go back to that sound and create some more metallic percussion. I'll modulate the crossmod with an audio rate waveform again. So we've got this really nice, almost Jupiter Storm-esque percussion sound, which is great for a nice cymbal hit type sound. Mixing the waves and differing the type of CV signals modulating the oscillator, you can really get stuck into some great sound design. So this sound in particular is a bit of an unexpected nicety found in the module, which has turned out to be great for those really noisy waveforms and heavily modulated tones, which is perfect for percussion. So the last thing to do, and possibly the thing that you've been waiting for, is to create a patch that's using the module as my bass riff and jam around on this. It'll be a techno-ish, vaguely acid-like sound, and I'll just play around with the other Erica modules surrounding it so you get a good feel for the tone of the module. So there's the Erica Synths new VCO in the Erica Black range of modules. Be sure to watch out for the other Erica Black modules. There's plenty of them that are coming out of Music Messer, which I'm sure you'll be starting to see and getting posted around the internet soon. Hit like and subscribe for more videos every week, and check the Patreon link in the description to see how you can support my channel.